A man convicted of threatening Colorado Secretary of State Jena Griswold will spend a year and a half in prison. Earlier this year, Travis Ford pleaded guilty to sending threats to Griswold on Instagram.
It's one of several cases where people threatened Griswold because she defended the security of the 2020 election. Her office hired private security because of those threats. Joining our discussion this morning, we have 9 News legal analyst Whitney Traylor. Whitney, always great to have you. Thank you so much for having this conversation with us. You know, this is a violation of a new law, one of the first prosecutions that we've seen like this. So I think the question is, to begin with, is are we trying to send kind of a message here? Not we, but, you know, is there trying to be a message here? And maybe will we see more types of these prosecutions?
Yeah, I think there is a message being sent, and this is based on even setting up the DOJ election threats task force. So they created this in June of 2021 because of the increased threats to election workers across the nation. And since that time, they've had a bunch of complaints, if you will. 1,000 of them were credible. So basically they investigated, and about 89% of what they found was First Amendment protected speech, you know, hey, you suck or whatever, that kind of thing, not threatening. But those 11% is where it does become unlawful threats. And so they're just starting to prosecute, and they've had 1,000 of those type of complaints in just a year.
It's when those threats get kind of scary. Like, I was looking at what these threats were. I know where you sleep. You should be afraid to sleep. I hope you die. So those were very serious threats. As you said, she hired this personal security. I think it was like $200,000 to do this security. So this task force was created. Is it working?
Well, a lot of people are saying it is working because they are currently prosecuting 4 people. This person, this Nebraska man, was convicted to 18 or sentenced to 18 months. I was just reading this morning from a bipartisan group that says they're not doing enough because they're not working with the state and local departments. So that was one criticism, and this was from a bipartisan group saying that they could do more, and that there's more laws on the book that the threats task force can be utilizing, that they're not actually prosecuting based on, you know, the plethora of laws related to threatening an election official. Yep.
And you were kind of mentioning the fact of now there's this big debate of, is enough being done?
Right. Yeah, and there is this debate, and you know, the issue is, this is so fundamentally important. I mean, this is, you know, scholarship out there, and as well as my opinion. There's 2 things that really kind of solidify and hold our, you know, our system together, and that is our elections and the notion that they are fair, and that was why this task force was created, you know, and the judges, and the fact that we have these third-party arbiters that we can trust. And so a judge actually issued this sentence. And what I'm getting at here is that people are so partisan and becoming so divided on political issues that no one respects anybody's authority. And so if we stop respecting the judges, this is why the Supreme Court nomination process is so, I think, problematic, because people are now saying, well, the judges are even partisan. And so now if we question our elections and we question decisions from the judges, we really have lost the rule of law, and we're a nation of laws.
Yeah,
so
we're going to get in trouble there. I'm curious what your thoughts are about the sentence amount, because the prosecutors wanted 2 years. The defense obviously wanted less. Judge gave 18 months, I think it was. What are your thoughts about that?
Well, and that's a common issue. The prosecution wants more, the defense wants less. I mean, 18 months, he pled guilty. There were mitigating factors, that he had remorse. He actually pled guilty, all of these things. But the judge, this was, I think, a fairly severe sentence. And then he also has a year of probation. So he's going to be in prison. I mean, this is a serious situation. And what was interesting was the family and everybody said he was very normal. He was a husband with children. He worked. He never exhibited this kind of behavior. And that's what's concerning, is that this is so inflammatory, these kinds of agitations around elections and fraud and all this, that people are actually acting out of character in a very violent way, if you will.
Well, we'll have to see if that message you were talking about is received across the board by other people. Whitney, thank you so much. We appreciate that.